Chapter 2: A 1,000-Year Lifespan. Spring turned to summer, and autumn followed quietly in the medicinal valley of the Taixuan sect, where time seemed to move slower than anywhere else. The door of a small pavilion creaked open, and 3 youths, Guan, Menglang, and Liya, stepped out into the crisp evening air. They paused to bow respectfully toward the room before Menglang pushed the door shut behind them. As they descended the stone steps, a collective sigh of relief escaped their lips. "That was exhausting," Menglang complained. "How can someone ramble on for a whole hour about something so simple? Wouldn't it be easier to just hand us the Encyclopedia of 100 Herbs? Liya, saying nothing, walked to the corner of their courtyard, where a sword was thrust into the soil. Picking it up, he began practicing his techniques, the faint gleam of moonlight catching on the blade. Though his spiritual aptitude was considered mediocre, Liya was a member of the imperial family and had been trained in a powerful sword technique unique to their lineage. He was determined to rely on it to carve out a better future for himself. The Taikang dynasty revered the Tao of immortality, where cultivation dictated one's status. The populace was divided into 4 ranks: slaves, commoners, officials, and immortals. Merchants belonged to the commoner rank, while only those who had attained immortal status were recognized as true nobles. Common officials could govern towns, but county lords and provincial governors were always immortals. The imperial capital, Changluo, only admitted those of immortal status or higher. Families of immortal rank often exiled children with weak spiritual roots to preserve their bloodline's purity. The imperial family was no exception. Even so, Liya's status as an exiled immortal noble placed him far above Guan, who was at the bottom of the hierarchy, a slave. Over the past year, Guan had helped Liya and Menglang harvest herbs during the summer or early mornings, earning their goodwill. For other tasks like planting, watering, and fertilizing, he stayed hands-off, leaving them to the supervision of Zhang Chunqiu, who often watched from his pavilion. As Menglang rambled on about the day's events, Guan's attention drifted to Liya's precise sword movements. Every man dreams of being a swordsman, Guan thought wistfully. The trio had built a decent rapport over the year. Liya didn't mind being watched while he practiced. After all, his family's swordsmanship relied on a secret energy circulation technique. Watching the moves alone wasn't enough to unravel its mysteries. Menglang eventually ran out of complaints and gave Guan a friendly pat on the shoulder. "You don't practice cultivation much, so why are you so interested in swordsmanship?" Guan shrugged. "I'm not interested in cultivation because I don't have the talent for it. Watching him practice is just something to do. Don't you think this valley is boring?" "Boring? It's unbearable," Menglang sighed, dramatically. "Back home, I had 4 maids to keep me entertained. You wouldn't believe." Guan tuned him out, knowing Menglang's tendency to exaggerate. By dusk, Liya finished his practice and returned his sword to the ground. "I'm heading to the grove," he announced abruptly, then left without waiting for a response. Once he was out of sight, Menglang muttered, "What's he always doing out there?" Guan shrugged. "How should I know? He's royalty. Having a few secrets is normal. For all we know, he might return as a prince someday." Menglang snorted. "As if. He's a servant now." "But think about it," Guan countered. "Why would someone like him be sent here? Why Taixuan sect of all places?" Menglang frowned, unable to answer. Guan left him to his thoughts and walked toward the fields. The valley was home to a variety of medicinal plants, and Guan stopped in front of a plot of tranquil grass, a Tier 2 herb that had caught his attention. Over the past year, he had only harvested Tier 1 herbs, but Zhang Chunqiu had recently mentioned that the tranquil grass would soon be ready. To Guan, these deep blue herbs weren't just medicine, they were a source of life itself. As he inspected the plants, he noticed one trembling unnaturally. His expression darkened as he spotted a white-furred mouse burrowing at its base, attempting to uproot it. The moment the mouse saw Guan, it darted away like lightning, vanishing under the wooden fence. Guan sighed, kneeling to examine the damaged herb. Its stem had snapped, and its leaves bore bite marks. He carefully plucked the plant, wrapped its roots in spiritual paper to preserve its energy, and secured it in his satchel. A notification appeared before his eyes. "You have successfully obtained Tranquil Grass Tier 2, plus 4 years of lifespan." Before he could process the message, another one followed. Your lifespan has exceeded 1,000 years. Lifespan inspection function unlocked. Intrigued, Guan focused on a nearby plant and thought, inspect lifespan. Tranquil grass, tier 2, 425, 102 years. Age, current lifespan, maximum lifespan. It seemed he couldn't absorb a plant's full lifespan. Most of it dissipated upon harvesting. Later that evening, Guan returned to the courtyard and used his newfound ability on Meng Lang and Leah. Meng Lang, Chi Refinement Stage 2. Still mediocre, Guan muttered, shaking his head. When Leah returned from the grove, Guan couldn't resist checking him as well. Leah, Refinement 6, 2 in 10. Guan's eyes widened. A maximum lifespan of 1,550 years? For an exiled prince, Leah's potential was extraordinary. Guan resolved to maintain their friendship. After all, powerful allies were hard to come by.